The Waltons captured the hearts of audiences with its warm story of the Walton family overcoming hardships during the Great Depression. But behind the smiles on screen were horrifying tragedies. Ellen Corby collapsed from a stroke, John Ritter died suddenly at age 54, and many other cast members also endured unimaginably painful deaths. What happened to the actors after the show ended? Let's uncover the truth and honor the legacies they left behind. Let's go. Ellen Corby as Esther Grandma Walton. Ellen Hanson Corby was born on June 3, 1911 in Racine, Wisconsin. She joined the Waltons when she was 61 years old, playing Esther Grandma Walton, the ideal grandmother, strict but full of love, a figure who touched the hearts of millions of viewers across America for many years. Few knew that behind those kind eyes and warm smile was a life filled with tragedies that she quietly bore on her own. Before becoming America's grandma, Ellen had a brief marriage to Francis Corby, a director and cinematographer who was more than 20 years her senior. They married in 1934, but their life together ended in 1944 without children, leaving Ellen with a void she never truly filled. Later, she found peace beside her same-sex partner, Stella Lucetta. That relationship lasted 45 years, but was always kept private, because in Hollywood at that time, to go public meant risking being pushed to the margins of society. Ellen chose silence, but that very silence often forced her to endure rumors, scrutiny, and the harsh pressures of prejudice. Ellen Corby's career was largely tied to supporting roles, portraying struggling women in It's a Wonderful Life and I Remember Mama, the film that earned her an Oscar nomination and a Golden Globe Award in 1948. But it wasn't until she became Esther Walton that she truly won the affection of the entire nation. Yet at the height of her career, disaster struck. In November 1976, Ellen suffered a severe stroke at home. The stroke left her almost unable to speak or move, forcing her to step away from the screen and leaving a great void in the Waltons. In those dark months, Ellen struggled with every step, every word, while her partner quietly stood by her side, helping her through the physical and emotional pain. After more than a year of determined recovery, Ellen returned to the set in 1978, reprising her role as Grandma Esther, who was also portrayed as facing the effects of a stroke. Simple, short lines like, "Pray, pray, pray," when hearing the news of Pearl Harbor, were not just words of the character. They echoed Ellen's own heart, a woman who had grown accustomed to enduring and standing strong through life's storms. She continued to appear in the remaining seasons of The Waltons and in later reunion movies, but her health never allowed her to return as fully as before. In her final years, Ellen lived at the Motion Picture and Television Country House nursing facility in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles, with Stella Lucetta at her side until the very end. She passed away on April 14, 1999, at the age of 87, after many years battling the complications caused by that stroke. Her net worth at the time was estimated at around $1 million, mostly from her long, steady film career and the awards she had earned. Ralph Waite as John Walton Sr. Ralph Waite was born on June 22, 1928, in White Plains, New York, and took on the role of John Walton Sr. in The Waltons when he was 44 years old. On screen, he portrayed the model father, stern yet loving, guiding the Walton family through the storms of the Great Depression. But in real life, Ralph Waite's life was filled with bold choices, bitter tragedies, and silent battles few ever knew about. Before becoming an actor, Ralph was a minister, a religious editor in New York, and a man respected within the faith community. But he gave it all up to pursue the stage lights, a path full of risks whose destination he himself couldn't predict. The first major tragedy in Ralph's life came in 1964, when his first daughter died of leukemia at just 9 years old, a loss that broke the father's heart and left a wound that never healed for the rest of his life. Ralph's married life was also full of sorrow. He married 3 times, but his first 2 marriages ended in divorce, leaving behind heartbreak and regret. Family upheavals and the pain of losing his child contributed to Ralph's descent into alcoholism, a destructive habit that eroded both his health and his relationships. At times, people feared he would lose himself entirely to the bottle and destroy his career. But through sheer willpower, Ralph successfully overcame his addiction, rose above his mistakes, and continued to give his all to the arts while engaging in social causes, hoping to use his voice for good. After his regular appearances on the Waltons ended, Ralph left a mark through powerful supporting roles in The Bodyguard and Cliffhanger. He also ventured into politics, driven by a desire to help change society, but his 3 runs for the U.S. Congress all ended in defeat. These losses were not only personal disappointments, but also carried the weight of pressure and frustration on a man who had already experienced so much sorrow. Ralph Waite passed away on February 13, 2014, in Palm Desert, California, at the age of 85. The cause was determined to be natural causes, following a long life of battling illness and the consequences of his former drinking. At his passing, his net worth was estimated at around $2 million, the result of years devoted to acting, directing, and quietly giving back to the community. Beulah Bondi as Martha Corinne Walton. Beulah Bondi was born on May 3, 1888, in Chicago, Illinois. She joined the Waltons when she was 85 years old, portraying Martha Corinne Walton, the grandmother of Zeb, with a weathered, kind, yet resolute presence that left a deep impression on the show's devoted fans. Bondi's life, though illustrious on screen with her roles as mothers and grandmothers, was a quiet and lonely journey off-screen. She dedicated her entire youth and old age to the stage and film, never marrying or having children. Admitting that she had chosen art over marriage, Bondi once shared that she never regretted it. Yet more than once, people noticed a distant gaze in her eyes during award ceremonies or at sparsely attended film screenings. In the 1930s, she reached the peak of her career with 2 Oscar nominations for The Gorgeous Hussy, 1936, and Of Human Hearts, 1938. But the name Beulah Bondi remained tied to gentle supporting roles, with few aware of the solitude behind the scenes. One of Bondi's greatest disappointments was losing the role of Ma Joad in The Grapes of Wrath. Believing she had been chosen, she even moved to live among poor laborers in Bakersfield to research the role. But in the end, the opportunity went to someone else. That heartbreak stayed with her, making Bondi even more devoted to playing poor, hard-working mothers on screen, as if she was fully embodying what she had longed for in real life. Even in her 80s, Bondi continued to give her all. Her role as Martha Corinne in The Waltons not only won over a new generation of viewers, but also earned her a prestigious Emmy Award at age 87. The image of her stepping onto the stage, slow but radiant amid the applause of the entire hall, felt like a long-overdue tribute from the world of art to someone who had sacrificed her life for it. But fate was unkind. In 1981, at the age of 92, Bondi died from lung complications after an unexpected accident. She tripped over her beloved cat at home. The fall left her to endure her final days in pain before passing away. At her death, she left behind an estimated net worth of about $1 million, a modest figure compared to a lifetime of tireless dedication, but the legacy she left in the hearts of audiences and American cinema was priceless. Will Geer as Zebulon Grandpa Walton. Will Geer was born on March 9, 1902, and he began playing Grandpa Zebulon Walton in The Waltons when he was 70 years old. He appeared on screen as a kind-hearted, wise, and experienced grandfather, but behind that gentle face was a life full of storms and bitter years that he had bravely endured. From an early age, Will Geer chose a difficult path. He immersed himself in labor and communist movements, becoming a strong voice defending the oppressed during the turbulent 1930s and 1940s. That unwavering belief led him into the whirlwind of tragedy. In the 1950s, he was blacklisted in Hollywood for refusing to name colleagues before the U.S. Congress. The doors of the studios slammed shut, and Geer nearly lost the career he had worked so hard to build. Once beloved in films like Broken Arrow and Winchester 73, he was forced away from the spotlight, scraping by through small performances and supporting himself by farming. During those isolated years, Geer also faced the pain of a broken marriage. He and Herta Ware, the woman who had been his soulmate, divorced in 1954. Though they remained lifelong friends, the separation left a void that was hard to fill. Social pressure, loneliness, and poverty weighed heavily on him for over a decade, but those hardships forged a depth of spirit that he would later pour fully into his role on the Waltons. It wasn't until the political climate eased that Geer found his way back to the stage. In Jeremiah Johnson, 1972, he played Bear Claw, a solitary mountain man living in the wilderness, reflecting his own image after years of societal rejection. Then, the role of Grandpa Zeb Walton made Geer a television icon, leaving audiences with the enduring image of a grandfather full of love and sacrifice. But happiness was short-lived. After the 6th season ended, Geer's health quickly declined, as lung disease quietly drained his strength. Will Geer passed away on April 22, 1978, at the age of 76, from respiratory failure after years of battling illness. His net worth at death was estimated at around $500,000, a modest sum compared to his talent and contributions, largely due to the career he had lost during Hollywood's darkest years. Joe Conley, as Ike Godsey. Joe Conley was born on March 3, 1928, and he began portraying Ike Godsey, the kind, cheerful owner of the Walton Mountain General Store, when he was 44 years old. Behind that friendly smile on screen was a real-life journey that was anything but easy, filled with struggles to make a living and the bitter hardships of life. Before the Waltons brought him recognition, Conley spent nearly 20 years in forgettable bit parts, his stalled acting career forcing him to turn to real estate in the early 1960s to support his family. The financial burden and pressure of juggling two very different paths contributed to the collapse of his first marriage to Jacqueline Stakes in 1966, closing a sad chapter of his life. During that time, he appeared in a few short and educational films, such as How to Lose Your Best Customer Without Really Trying, but he was still searching for a breakthrough. When the opportunity with the Waltons came, it was like salvation from years of obscurity. The role of Ike Godsey made him a familiar face in American homes, a character who brought humor and warmth amid life's upheavals. While audiences loved him for the role, in real life, Conley quietly continued his real estate business as a way to keep his family secure and avoid repeating the heartbreaks of his past. In his final years, tragedy struck again when Conley developed dementia, the disease gradually stealing his memory and clarity. He passed away on July 7, 2013, in Newbury Park, California, at the age of 85. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at about $1.5 million, the result of a lifetime of hard work both in business and the arts. Ronnie Claire Edwards as Corobeth Walton Godsey. Ronnie Claire Edwards was born on February 9, 1933, and began playing Corobeth Walton Godsey, the sharp-tongued but deeply loyal wife of store owner Ike Godsey, when she was 41 years old. Behind that spirited character, her real life was one of quiet days, with private corners she rarely revealed. Unlike Corobeth, who was often meddling in family matters, Edwards chose a private life. She never publicly acknowledged any marriage and lived alone throughout her life. People saw a Ronnie Claire Edwards devoted to the arts, but once she stepped away from the stage lights, she returned to her peaceful home with no one to share it. Fame truly came to her when she took on the role of Corobeth in The Waltons, after years of struggling with stage work and unremarkable supporting roles on television. Her career continued with a few notable appearances, such as in The Dead Pool, 1988, and Star Trek: The Next Generation, but she never sought the spotlight. Instead, Edwards poured her heart into writing and stage work, creating the play The Knife Thrower's Assistant, which she performed in various places. She also personally restored an old church in Dallas into her home, turning away from luxury when she sold her Los Angeles mansion, as if to close the door on all the noise. Ronnie Claire Edwards passed away quietly in her sleep on June 14, 2016, from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease at the age of 83. She left behind an estimated net worth of about $1 million, earned through a lifetime of dedication to the arts and the written word. Earl Hamner Jr. as narrator. Earl Hamner Jr. was born on July 10, 1923, and began his role in the Waltons at age 49 as the narrator, his warm, familiar voice etched into the memories of countless viewers, guiding them back to the loving rural world of the Walton family. Hamner's life was one of both great acclaim and significant challenges. The eldest in a poor family during the Great Depression, he witnessed his father travel far from home to make a living, an image that stayed with him and became the heart of Spencer's Mountain and later the Waltons. Despite his brilliant career with the Waltons and Falcon Crest, few knew how Hamner endured stressful, exhausting days, straining to maintain the quality and success of long-running shows, while grappling with the relentless creative pressures and high expectations from both audiences and producers. His marriage to Jane Martin Hamner, which began in 1954, was a steadfast source of support throughout his life. They had 2 children, and Hamner often spoke of Jane as the quiet partner who shared in both his triumphs and his struggles. When he created and produced Falcon Crest in the 1980s, Hamner faced internal conflicts and power struggles within the television industry, forcing him to constantly balance his ideals with the harsh realities of the entertainment world. In his final years, Hamner quietly battled bladder cancer. He passed away on March 24, 2016, in Los Angeles at the age of 92. His net worth at the time was estimated at about $3 million, largely from his work as a writer and producer and from the cultural legacy he left behind. Mary Jackson as Emily Baldwin. Mary Jackson was born on November 22, 1910, and began playing Emily Baldwin, the gentle, kind-hearted Baldwin sister in the Waltons, when she was 62 years old. Behind the image of the petite lady, who became a familiar figure to TV audiences for nearly 3 decades, her life was a quiet journey but not without its silent challenges. Unlike her character Emily Baldwin, who lived a life of solitude, Mary Jackson in real life enjoyed a remarkably strong marriage rarely seen among artists. She married Griffin Bancroft Jr. on July 4, 1937, and the two remained together for 68 years, until the very end of her life. Though they had no children, her life was filled with companionship and the unwavering support of her husband, which became her source of strength during her final years battling illness. Her career was interrupted when she faced health challenges. In her later years, Mary Jackson developed Parkinson's disease, which gradually took away her ability to speak fluently after she suffered a stroke in 1997. Nevertheless, with remarkable determination, she continued to appear in films such as Coming Home, 1978, and Leap of Faith, 1992, leaving a lasting mark on audiences. Even as illness weighed on her, she dedicated time to her hometown of Milford, raising funds to preserve the town's heritage. Sadly, she passed away on December 10, 2005, in Los Angeles from complications of Parkinson's disease at the age of 95. She left behind an estimated net worth of about $800,000, thanks to her long acting career and tireless life's work. Helen Kleeb as Mamie Baldwin. Helen Kleeb was born on January 6, 1907, and began playing Mamie Baldwin, the cheerful and kind Baldwin sister in the Waltons, when she was 66 years old. Beneath the surface of that simple, gentle character, Kleeb's real life was touched by profound lows, woven between happiness, loss, and quiet challenges she faced over nearly a century. Her first marriage to John Gerald Prendergast brought joy with the birth of their only son, Tom Pendergast. However, tragedy struck early when her husband died in 1950, leaving her a single mother at a time when her acting career was still unfinished. This loss caused Kleeb to set aside her acting ambitions, turning instead to teaching drama as a way to support her son and heal the wounds in her heart. It wasn't until the late 1950s that she returned to the arts, appearing in works such as The Manchurian Candidate, 1962, and The Party, 1968, gradually building her reputation before joining the Waltons. In her later years, Kleeb found a new anchor in her second husband, Elmer Garrison, who remained by her side for over 4 decades until she passed away. Though her life was never flashy, she quietly devoted herself to her craft and brought deeply humane characters to the screen, from Hush, Sweet Charlotte, to The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Helen Kleeb passed away on December 28, 2003, in Los Angeles, at the age of 96, from natural causes, closing a peaceful, modest, but meaningful life. She left behind an estimated net worth of about $600,000, the fruit of a lifetime of quiet, steadfast dedication to her art. Peggy Rea as Rose Burton. Peggy Rea was born on March 31, 1921, and joined the Waltons at the age of 55 as Rose Burton, a kind-hearted, loving woman who stepped in as the mother figure in the family when other key characters were absent. Off-screen, her life was one of tireless dedication to the arts, mixed with quiet turning points that only those who worked closely with her might have truly understood. She chose a single life, never marrying or having children, devoting her heart and soul to her career and her friendships with colleagues. Yet that solitude sometimes brought moments of silent loneliness, especially in her later years as age and illness began to weigh upon her. During the peak of her career, Rea toured nationally in a streetcar named Desire in the late 1940s, an important opportunity that helped establish her name on stage, but also a time when she had to be far from family and friends, facing long journeys and isolation in unfamiliar places. When she transitioned fully to television, Rea continued to bring warmth and laughter through roles such as Lulu Coltrane Hogg in The Dukes of Hazzard. Although successful, dedicating all her time to work without the support of a family of her own left Peggy Rea to confront emotional gaps at times, particularly as she watched friends and colleagues settle into their own family lives. In her later years, Peggy Rea's health gradually declined due to age, especially from heart failure. Still, she maintained a positive spirit and the image of a kind-hearted performer in the eyes of her fans. She passed away on February 5, 2011, at the age of 89 in Toluca Lake, California. Her net worth at the time of her death was estimated at about $700,000, largely earned from her long, steady career in acting, leaving behind the legacy of a dedicated and sincere artist. John Ritter as Reverend Matthew Fordwick. John Ritter was born on September 17, 1948, and began appearing in the Waltons at age 25 as the young Reverend Matthew Fordwick, a role that gave him a promising start on television. Although it was a supporting role, Ritter's natural, down-to-earth performance left a lasting impression on fans of the series. Ritter's life, though filled with success, was also marked by deep pain and loss. His first marriage to actress Nancy Morgan began in 1977 and lasted nearly 2 decades, during which they had 3 children, but it ultimately ended in divorce in 1996. The breakup ushered in a turbulent personal period for Ritter, even as he continued to shine on screen as Jack Tripper in Three's Company, a role that won him an Emmy and a Golden Globe in 1984. During that time, Ritter struggled to balance the glow of fame with family upheaval. After the divorce, Ritter found happiness with actress Amy Yazbek. They married in 1999 after years of working together and sharing life, and they had one son, Noah. But joy at home was short-lived. In 2003, while filming 8 Simple Rules, Ritter suddenly collapsed from an undetected aortic dissection, a rare and unpredictable condition. Though rushed to the hospital, he could not be saved, passing away at age 54 with many artistic plans left unfinished, including his beloved voice role in Clifford the Big Red Dog. John Ritter's sudden death left an unhealing wound for his family, colleagues, and millions of fans worldwide. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at about $20 million, built from a rich career spanning over 100 films and television shows, along with enduring stage projects. Tom Bower as Dr. Curtis Willard. Tom Bower was born on January 3, 1938, and joined the Waltons in 1975 at the age of 37, playing Dr. Curtis Willard, a character beloved for his calm demeanor and dedication. This role not only earned him attention from television audiences, but also paved the way for bigger opportunities in film. Bower's life was not without its challenges, especially in marriage and career. He married Amy O'Connell in 1959, but that marriage ended in divorce after 10 years, leaving him to raise 2 young children while his career was still struggling to take off. To support his family, Bower worked various jobs, including spending 15 years as a private detective, all while striving to pursue his passion for acting. Those years were filled with pressure and tension as he tried to balance fatherhood with his artistic ambitions. Light came into Bower's life when he met and married Ursula in 1971. She became his steadfast partner, standing by him through every high and low, until her passing in 2007-2022. During their years together, Bower secured memorable roles, such as in Die Hard 2, 1990, and founded the Met Theater, creating opportunities for many young talents. However, a regrettable turning point in his career came when a modest request for a pay raise on the Waltons led to the removal of Dr. Curtis Willard from the script, something Bower later referred to as a costly lesson in his life. Despite many hardships, Bower remained fully dedicated to the arts until the end of his days. He passed away on May 30, 2024, at the age of 86, reportedly in his sleep, bringing to a close a long journey of contribution and passion. His net worth at the time of his passing was estimated at about $1.2 million, primarily from his acting career and the theater projects he built with such devotion. Cleavon Little as James Trevis Clark. Cleavon Little was born on June 1, 1939, in Chickasha, Oklahoma. He joined the Waltons in 1974 at the age of 35, portraying James Trevis Clark, a character who inspired audiences and, though his appearance was brief, left a lasting impression on fans of this beloved family drama. Cleavon Little's life was a continuous effort to overcome the barriers of race in the world of the arts. During his college years, he worked as a janitor to make ends meet and recited poetry at black clubs to earn a little extra. Those were hard and trying years, but it was through that struggle that Cleavon forged the determination that would take him to the top. The turning point came in 1970 when he won a Tony Award for his role in Pearly on Broadway, a performance that propelled him onto the big stage. His only marriage, to Valerie Wiggins in 1972, seemed at first like it would provide a peaceful refuge in a life filled with storms. But it quickly fell apart after just 2 years. Although they shared a daughter, Adia Millett, the relationship ended, leaving Cleavon with many lingering regrets about the family he had longed for, but could never hold on to. Perhaps it was this loneliness that drove Cleavon to pour all his passion and energy into his craft, where he made his mark with unforgettable performances, most notably as Sheriff Bart in Blazing Saddles, 1974, a role that made him an icon of satirical comedy. In his final years, Cleavon continued to work tirelessly on both stage and screen, from I'm Not Rappaport with Judd Hirsch to a guest appearance on Dear John, 1989, a role that earned him an Emmy Award and reaffirmed his talent. Yet behind the witty smile and confident demeanor was a man silently battling the cruel grip of colorectal cancer, which gradually stole his strength. On October 22, 1992, Cleavon Little passed away at his home in Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles, at just 53 years old. He left behind an estimated net worth of around $2 million, built through more than 2 decades of dedicated work in acting. Sian Barbara Allen as Jenny Pendleton. Sian Barbara Allen was born on July 12, 1946, in Reading, Pennsylvania. She joined the Waltons in 1972 at the age of 26, playing Jenny Pendleton, the gentle but star-crossed first love of John Boy Walton, leaving a lasting impression on fans of the show. Allen's real life was once filled with moments of romance when she fell in love with Richard Thomas, the very co-star who played John Boy. Their relationship began during the filming of You'll Like My Mother, 1972, where they acted together and continued through much of the 1970s. But the stage lights were not enough to keep them together forever. Their quiet separation left Allen with a lingering sadness that became a hidden scar on her youthful years, something she rarely spoke of. After that unfulfilled love, Sian Barbara Allen sought stability in her personal life through marriage to Peter Gelblum in 1979. What seemed to be a peaceful haven, especially with the birth of their daughter Emily, brought her new happiness. But over time, their marriage gradually fractured, ending in divorce in 2001, despite their efforts to hold it together. During those years, she continued to make her mark with lead roles in Scream, Pretty Peggy, 1973, alongside Bette Davis, and The Lindbergh Kidnapping Case, 1976. But her career gradually became quieter as Allen withdrew from the spotlight. Life after the stage was not entirely peaceful for Allen. She quietly faced the cruel reality of Alzheimer's disease in her later years, a devastating fate for an artist whose pride had been her keen memory and sensitivity, as those gifts slowly slipped away. Sadly, she passed away on March 31, 2025, in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, at the age of 78. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at about $500,000, mostly from years of dedication to the arts and her quiet contributions beyond the glare of fame. The journey of the Waltons stars was not only a dazzling light on screen, but also a tapestry of haunting tragedies, from strokes and addiction to sudden, heartbreaking deaths. These lives left an indelible mark on fans everywhere. Which character from the Waltons do you cherish most? Share your thoughts and join us in uncovering more secrets behind this classic show in the comments.